Three takeaways from Atlanta United's 2-1 loss to Chicago Fire at Soldier Field. Atlanta United now winless in their last six. Losers are four of their last five. They get an own goal to make it 1-1, but a goal by the Chicago Fire late on stinks Atlanta United ultimately at Soldier Field. Takeaway number one, the lineups. I respect, Roddy Diallo for making, those tweaks to his 11. That's probably due in part to Pedro Amador being injured. Of course, Ronald Hernandez coming in on the left side, left back in place of Pedro Amador. But then you see some tweaks to the lineup. You see Miguel Morel play further up. Jay Fortune was listed as a left winger, but he played more toward the middle of the field. So you saw some tweaks, you saw some tactical changes. And did Ronnie Dyler stick with them too long? Lloyd Sam was talking about, hey, you needed to make some changes, and Atlanta United did ultimately. And you saw a little life, but not enough. Atlanta United ending the night with just two shots on goal. And I feel like that miss by Derek Williams hitting the woodwork with just minutes remaining in stoppage time pretty much says it all about this team where they are right now. It seems like whatever Ronnie Dial is doing isn't working. I mean, he's trying. He's trying his best to position this team to win, but the talent level is not good enough, and ultimately it leads to another loss at Soldier Field. Takeaway number two: just the attack in general. We've talked so many times, and feels like Groundhog Day. Talked so much about how valuable this attack is. Latte Lot, Miranchuk, Almiron. He only managed two shots on goal against a backup keeper in his first start in MLS. We mentioned you have to test the keeper, you have to make him work, you have to make him earn his paycheck on the day. And credit to Jeff Gall, he's not like a newbie. He's played several years in Sweden, or he played several years in Sweden before signing for the Fire, his hometown club, in 2023. But most of his action since coming over has been with MLS Next Pro. He gets a start with the Fire with Chris Brady being out due to a red card, and he only faces two shots the entire afternoon. Yeah, again, you don't want to keep repeating the same things over and over again, but this team just not very good in the attack. And talking about, does this team have chemistry? Are they bonding? I think it's just more than that. The collective is just not very good. And I think at this stage in the season, 12 matches in with as few points as you have, you start to come away from the discussion of, is this team able to build the chemistry? You've had plenty of time to build chemistry. The collective just isn't good. They aren't talented enough as a group. They're looking to create for themselves. They're not communicating with each other. There's an opportunity that Atlanta had. I think it was Almiron that shot it, and Brooks Lennon is wide open on the right side of the box. And not to say that there aren't spurts. There's not to say that there aren't little moments here and there that look promising, because there are. But at the end of the day, the collective is just not good enough. And I'm just boggled why that still is at this point. Where you want to point to dialogue, where do you want to point to deeper issues in the locker room? I don't know. I don't get it. It's just very frustrating to watch this from this team week in and week out. Takeaway number three: where do we go from here? Atlanta United is in Austin FC, or they take on Austin FC on Wednesday. After that, they play three home matches in a row against Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and Orlando City. If you look at those next four matches that I just named out, especially the three at home, where do you legitimately see Atlanta United winning a match? You may come away with something against Austin, potentially a draw or something like that. But the way Philadelphia is playing right now, the way Cincinnati's playing right now, and the way Orlando City's playing right now, from a defensive standpoint, that is, where do you see Atlanta United genuinely winning a match? I mean, it's just incredible to think about that possibility that we could get to May 28th when they play Orlando City and Atlanta United still haven't won a match. So this winless streak could stretch to 10 matches. It's just, you could be talking about Atlanta United essentially being all but out of the playoff race by late May. I'm not a fire the coach guy, but do you have those deeper discussions if you go Flag away? I mean, whatever's happening isn't working. They're not scoring goals. They're not winning matches. They're closer to the bottom of the standings than they are the top. What do you do at this point? I think these 4 matches, if you don't win a match in these next 4 matches, I think you have to have. I'll just say this: I think you have to have a conversation about Ronnie Dyla. I think that Garth Lagerwey will keep him at least toward the end of the year. I said that before, and I'll kind of reiterate that since if nothing more than from a I hired this guy standpoint, I think that Lagerwey will give him the rest of the season to figure things out. Of course, he has the summer transfer window, but why are we having that conversation? You hope that you had what you needed in place already to perform. You brought in Latte Lot, who hasn't scored in several matches. You brought in Miranchuk, who has barely registered anything. You brought in Almiron, which, outside of a few goals, couple of goals, he hasn't really registered anything. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's the club legend coming back, and it's not really worked for him thus far. So I think, again, if you get to May 28th, when they play Orlando City, and you still haven't won a match by then, do you do you start to have conversations about Ronnie Dyla? I'm not saying they will, but saying you may have to have some conversations because next 6 matches after that are away. You don't want to continue to play the way you're playing and then run the risk of further running your season into the ground when you have this 6 match a week coming up here in the summer. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit me up on social media at SH Writes. Hit us up on social media at Stars, the Letter, and Spikes. Of course, shout out to Sweetwater Brewing Company and sweetwaterbrew.com for more information. Thanks for their support of Stars and Spikes. We'll be back with our match review show Sunday night at 9, and we will let you know what our plan is for the week with a double match week, triple match week on social media. So stay tuned for that. Cindy signing off. We'll see you next time.